All right, let's get a check on your weather right now. Senior meteorologist Matt Wentz, what's going on?
All right, thanks, Tanita. Right now, we are experiencing our warmest temperatures that we're going to experience until likely Saturday afternoon. How about that? So we've got temperatures that are going to be on their way down here as colder air continues to filter in. We'll get some snow around here this morning. Already seeing some out towards Sandusky. Not a huge deal, but we will have some flakes flying this morning. We'll catch a break, and then we'll deal with more snow late this evening into tonight. Your evening rush hour looks fine, and even your morning rush hour looks okay here. And then it gets windy and those temps drop. Arctic front arriving later on today. So let's dive into it right now. Kind of quiet weather. We've got temps in the 30s, so it is about 5 to 10 degrees colder than it was yesterday morning at this time. Plan that as you're heading out the door, getting the kids ready for the bus stop. We're near 40 east. And then temps start to slide as you get out towards the west. We're at the freezing mark and Mansfield right now. And wind isn't much of an issue, but it is a little bit breezy. That wind will pick up later today, especially with that Arctic front tonight when gusts could go over 35 at times. Warm air along the eastern seaboard. We're in between. And then here comes that cold air. Bismarck, we've watched go from -1 to -1 to -3 right now as that Arctic air plunges into the country. And there's plenty of it. You can see it now just taking shape across the northern tier. But this is a low, but the polar vortex that has kind of oozed south into Canada. Probably not the best of words to use, but you notice that cold air getting dragged in by the low pressure out towards our east. So we've got a shot of cold coming in, and it gets even colder over towards Siberia. No idea how to pronounce these towns, but Siberia is an interesting place to watch weather-wise because the cold air will build here, and then eventually a week later it'll head over in Alaska and Canada, and then usually 2 weeks later or so it will dive into the country. So could this be a Christmas or New Year's Eve cold spell that's developing in Siberia? We'll keep an eye on it. Locally, though, we've got cold air of our own coming into the country. This is all being stemmed by this big system up and down the eastern seaboard. Look at all the rain. They're going to have some flooding issues, but much needed rain across areas that are drought-stricken in the eastern half of the country. The snow that we have in response to the East Coast low will move from west to east here this morning. You see that little band on the backside of this whole system. A lot of this initially not reaching the ground, but we're starting to see it saturate the air and reach the ground back towards the Wakeman, the Sandusky area. So eventually this snow will move from west to east through the Cleveland area in the latter half of that morning rush. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast picks up on that quite nicely. These are going to be those big, fat, wet flakes falling. Make it a slushy coating in spots. I'm not expecting a lot to accumulate, but if we get good rates, I mean, that could whiten things up on grassy surfaces. Roads should be okay here this morning as long as they're treated. Then that'll head out by noon, and we'll have a pretty quiet afternoon around here with just cloudy skies, maybe a sun peak or two. Temps holding in the 30s. And then here comes our Arctic front. We'll get some snow showers early. This isn't it at 9. This is it at midnight. We'll get a burst of snow. Quick coating of snow on area surfaces. Winds are going to pick up as well, and temperatures go from 30, watch this by morning, feels more like 0 or below tomorrow morning with a gusty wind, gusts to 40 at times. Won't have a lot of snow on radar tomorrow morning, but we're going to be cold area wide. Where the snow will be is out east in the snow belt. We'll have a good westward trajectory with this, and you can see that snow gets going with heavy snow heading into Lake and Ashtabula County, mainly the northern half of Ashtabula County. During the daytime tomorrow, that's where our winter weather advisories are. Rest of us have a sunny, polar day. I mean, when you get these Arctic air masses, you get crystal clear blue skies, but it is just cold, and that's the way it will remain for much of the day tomorrow. Lake snow will eventually wind down on Friday. How much? Not a lot. A quick coating, as I mentioned, with the Arctic front. But here's where it starts to pile up. Northern Ashtabula, eastern Lake counties. If you have travel plans along I-90 Thursday into Friday, it gets progressively worse as you get up towards Erie. That is going to be some really tricky travel, over a half a foot, maybe a foot of snow up towards the Erie area. Brief cold, as I mentioned. Friday will still be cold, but we'll be recovering. Weekend looks good. We're in the 40s. Your long ranger forecast will take this system out of here quickly. That's why the cold air doesn't linger. Look at that big low up in New England. Lake snow will wind down Friday, as I mentioned. And then we turn to our next system, which will be some rain that moves in here late Saturday into Sunday. Timing hasn't changed on that. Sunday looks rainy for the Browns game against the Chiefs. Taylor Swift needs to have her rain gear on. And then notice as we go into Monday, Tuesday, our next system comes in with rain. Well, we're getting closer to Christmas. What about a white Christmas? Well, our chances here in Cleveland are only about 40%, so not the best chance. Higher out in the snow belt. White Christmas defined as an inch of snow or greater on the ground Christmas morning. So looking at the models, this is snowpack, or how much snow is on the ground. The Euro says we will have a white Christmas. The GFS says no. We'll keep an eye on this. It all hinges on a storm system that both models are picking up on. May develop a couple days before Christmas. Union Home Mortgage 10-day forecast, cold but briefly. We're back into the 40s to near 50 heading into next week with 30s and some clouds, but no big snow in the forecast over the next 10 days.